Hello, Nerd TV and Orville Nation. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Eric Silverleaf, Peggy Oaks, the Time Prophet, Gap Stargate. Hello, my friend. Hello, Louise Sparrow, Matt Ryan, and Alan Cox, Peggy Oaks, everybody who's in here. Welcome, guys. We're going to have a very exciting program tonight. We're obviously going to be talking about episode 8, which is very interesting. And we're also going to be joined later, as you all know, by Alan Dean Foster. And I'm sure there's stuff that he will want to talk about. So let me go ahead and introduce the gang. Let's start with the lady with no camera. I want to welcome meteorologist, Starfleet meteorologist, galactic meteorologist, Katie Nicolau. Hello, Katie.
Hey there. Yeah, everyone will get to stare at a picture of me staring at a tornado and smiling like a maniac because this is what my computer looks like. It's, yeah, it just kind of died. Nothing happened. It just, boop. So, yeah, there's Happy Katie. The smile that everyone comes to see.
Well, actually, it looks kind of cool, but yeah, your profile looks better. Your picture looks better.
Yes. Oh, most definitely. Plus, you get that little womp, womp, womp circle, so you know I'm talking. Yay!
Anything new in Katie Land?
I dropped my Animaniacs fandom forecast. That's on my So Many Fandoms channel.
That was amazing, by the way. That was amazing.
Thank you. I'm so happy because Pinky and the Brain, the voice actors who voiced both of them, now follow me on Twitter, and they both commented and retweeted, and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool!" And I kind of freaked out. It was awesome. I'm so excited.
It's your channel is very unique, Katie. It's very interesting.
It really is. It's hit or miss, but you know what? Like as far as videos being posted go, but the footage and the content is all quality.
Can you do me a favor and can you put in your channel, because we have some new people in here today, so they can follow you?
Absolutely.
Put in your channel, So Many Fandoms, in the chat.
I'm the one that isn't anime focused, if anyone's wondering.
And I'm gonna go introduce the other young lady who's with us tonight, and the charming Nina Infinity. Hello, Nina.
Hey, how's everybody today? Thank you for inviting me, PJ. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you both. And Nina, what is going on new with your channel?
Well, I just uploaded the breakdown review of the 3rd episode of his Dark Materials Season 2 because it's one of my favorite shows and book series. So I love that show. So I'm doing a breakdown review for it. And I've got, on Fridays, I do Infinite Hope, which is a news segment of good and hopeful news because everything going on is so negative. So on Fridays, I do those.
Good
and
for you.
I have, I'm dabbling in a little bit of deep fakes, just having fun with it. So along with movie reviews and stuff like that, I do deep fakes as well, just to have fun, a little bit of laughs along the way. So check out my channel. It's there. Thank you so much.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. We want to also introduce our friend, Dr. Adega Outlaw. And Dr. Adega Outlaw, how are you? Oh, you just froze.
He froze.
He looks elated.
Oh, I gotta do a screen capture of this.
You do.
This one after the episode. That's a great image of. Okay, Adega, you can't even hear us.
It's almost like he's slapping himself. Oh, no.
There you are.
It's totally my end. I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
How are you? And what's new? When any news on the new version of your books?
Nothing new. It's just, one of those things that plugs along. Just same old thing. Actually, there is something new, but I completely forgot what it was, and I was going to bring it up, but.
Well, when you remember,
the book stuff is notoriously slow out of necessity.
Okay. When you do, if you do remember, just mention it at any time, and we will put that or write it, and we'll put it up if you want, or tell us at the end. And
That's
if and Nina and Adega, we have some new people in the chat, so if you guys can put up your channels so people can follow Nina Infinity and Adega Outlaw.
Gonna make me work.
For some reason, my channel isn't posting. No.
Oh no! Let me see if I can.
All right, I'm gonna try it here.
And we want to bring in the master of disaster, the master and creator of dark matter, and I this is such a pleasure to have Joseph MALLOZZI here with us. Joe, thank you for joining us.
Hello.
How are you this week, Joe?
I am great. I've actually made progress. I've got a number of projects in development, and one of the big ones, I finally completed the 4th act of the pilot outline, and about halfway through the 5th act. And once that's done, I'll take the week to go over it, and hopefully on to script by December.
Awesome.
Nice.
More projects from Joe. That's
who knows?
Only great stuff, guys. And Matt Ryan says hi, Joe.
Hey, Matt.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you guys can, Nick, you guys can put in your links, and
let me get Joe's in there too.
And get in Joe's. Yeah, I was gonna put it in. Thank you, Diga. Joe. By the way, guys, Joe's channel has a lot of really cool extra content on it. Anybody who's Dark Matter Stargate fan wants to be subbed to Joe's channel.
Oh, my YouTube channel?
Your YouTube channel.
Oh, I have a bunch of videos of a lot of the playback from various shows, sort of, the mug shots, the Dark Matter mug shots, some behind the scenes stuff from Stargate. So not that you mentioned it, I never talk about the YouTube channel because I usually just post stuff there and then repost it onto my blog. But yeah, check it out. It's a treasure trove of Dark Matter and Stargate related items. Timescape, basically, someone asked about Timescape. That was my other big project that I have two scripts and the series Bible, and we were supposed to go out with it this week, but sadly, Hollywood is shut down pretty much to all pitches, so we're going to have to circle back in January. Delays.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you guys, and I want to start with Joe as for the icebreaker question. If we were all going to do the show today together, face to face, and we were going to use Transfer Transit to meet up, where would you meet up on Earth? Where would you set up this meeting, Joe?
Oh, no question. We would be in Tokyo. We'd probably do a cafe in Akihabara, and then as we were done, we can basically just check out the shops and check out all the cool anime and manga shops.
Perfect location. Yes.
I like that. What about you, Katie? And don't say Chasing a Tornado.
Oh, darn it. You know me so well. You know what? I would say probably the Scottish Highlands if we could get a signal.
Wow.
Okay.
Just away from everything and everyone. Just enjoying Harry Coos and haggis.
Awesome.
That's
Nina.
great.
What about you? Where would you?
Well, Joseph kind of named where I would want to go because I would love to see Japan, and I've never been there before. But if you guys want to come to where I am, come to Cancun. Hell yeah!
Ooh.
We'll have a good meetup here.
Get some hurricanes.
Get some tacos. Have some fun. Yeah, there's hurricanes here too.
I'm down for that. Hurricanes can cause tornadoes. I'll take it.
What about you, Dega?
Well, I got distracted a little bit. It threw me off again. My brain is on backwards right now.
Where would you transfer
transit
transit to?
Order. I'm trying to remember the name. Glacier Lake. That's it. You have to go during the summer because the rest of the time you can't go. It's one of the most beautiful places in North America. At least if you like mountains and lakes and all that trees and everything. But
I
that would
do.
be it.
Where is that?
Glacier Lake.
Like where is geographically? Where is it?
Between Montana and what is it? Ontario? Is that or is it Alberta? I can't remember.
Probably
I think it's
Alberta.
Ontario.
One
Yeah.
of the Canadas.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
should know
Alberta.
this. Uh-oh.
Awesome. Wow. Listen, Katie, Katie's virginity, her dark matter virginity. We have to take advantage.
Nice clarification
my.
there.
I'm sorry, Katie.
Actually, before
Oh, my.
before we get into episode 8,
Go ahead.
Katie,
Joe.
you missed episode 7, and
Yes.
I don't want to sort of do a big thing, but I'm just curious: has your opinion about 3 changed a little, or is it?
I literally wrote it down on a piece of paper during the episode. It literally said 3 equals less of a dick. So
Okay,
a
so
little bit
we're
better.
getting there. Okay.
A little bit better. I see the soft side.
Mhm.
Still think he's hiding something nefarious.
All
But
right.
yes, I'm okay. I'm not going to shove him out an airlock quite as quickly.
Okay. Good to know.
Yes. But yes, I'll have to take a picture of the note. I wrote it down.
You can put it up as your avatar.
Yes.
Um,
That'll be next week. Just boom.
what did you? What did you? Was there another question, Joe?
Nope, that was it.
It was. So what? How did you think? How did you feel about episode 8, Katie?
This is this episode, right?
Yeah.
Numbers are meaningless. So, no, I liked it. It goes back to everything that I really like about this series, in that you are just thrown in and then you are bucked off and you try to get back on, like, okay, maybe I understand this. No, you don't. And you just get stomped on it. It's like, oh, I was so wrong. Now I have to watch this again. Like, it's so great.
Awesome. And Nina, what? You obviously watched this before. What did you? When you rewatched, what did you?
I love this episode, especially at the beginning because of the whole transfer transit thing, and I love clones. So it was like one of those things where I was like, oh my god, there's clones, and this is how they're made. Like, I'd love the, all the details that you're told, and how it's done, how you have to like re-upload themselves back in order to retain their memories, because if they don't, then they die. I mean, I remember the first scene when 6 died. I was like, oh no, and then he like disappeared.
I literally,
I was like, what the hell?
same. There was a lot of swearing.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a great episode. I really enjoyed it both times.
Let me just add to everybody who's watching. Yes, Alan Dean Foster is going to join us. He's going to join us in a little bit because we're going to review the episode first, and then he's going to join us for discussion. Adega, what did you think about this episode?
Well, there was a lot of things I really liked about it, but the comedy really got me this time too, especially both 6 and 1 giving that Tech the same line. Did you ever want to buck the system?
That was so funny.
But no, it was, and I am a big fan of those little twists right at the very end when 1 is on the computer and sees 3 and sees himself. I love that kind of writing.
Thank you. I always try to sort of end each episode with kind of a back-to-back holy shit moment. And, that's a pretty big one.
It's working. It's absolutely
Good.
working.
So we start off the episode with 6, and by the way, let me add to. I totally agree, Joe. With Adega, there's a lot of like the little bits of comedy. I thought 3 was very funny, like in his little pokes.
Yeah, it's funny. I was watching it. I watch it every night rewatch every night before with my wife, and she actually laughed out loud that scene where 1 is being confronted. And 3's like, he kind of like taps the table and is like, well, best to come clean, as if he's like totally innocent. And Anthony Lumpke is just, I think, perfection as the character.
I love that scene where they're getting drunk together, and he goes, he's like, getting explained what this transfer thing is, and he's like, "Are you drunk, Five?" Like, I don't understand what he's saying. And I was like, "This is so funny because most people who don't understand sci-fi or something like that, like it's kind of like, dude, like, what are you talking about?"
That's him. Yeah.
Or just before they got drunk, the mealworm sandwich. You can eat that.
Yeah, totally.
I saw the food and I went, "Oh, that's totally. He's gonna eat more in this episode." I know it.
Yeah, I would totally be like, ugh, like, no.
Oh, heck yeah. There's protein in those things. But then again, that's the Survivor contestant in me.
Yeah.
Okay. So we start off the episode with Six, obviously doing some kind of transfer transit scenario, and we see him. He gets shot, and he Joe, what is exactly? Is it? It's just the cohesion of the clone. Just how would you explain it? So what's happening when they die?
Exactly. It's essentially it's not really flesh and blood per se. So essentially it's constituent elements. How would you put it?
Like we're like 90% water.
Fall apart over time. So the clones have a built-in sort of life cycle of anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. And once that time is up, it physically can no longer sustain its coherence. And the entire idea is hopefully you get back to the pod in time so you can relay the information, the memories you've made back to the original pod where your real body resides. If not, then the clone carries those memories with it.
I love that idea.
Yeah, like it was a souped-up camcorder with a half-life.
Yeah, exactly. It was a tough sell in the room. I gotta say, when we were building the stories for season 8. Well, it was actually myself, my writing partner Paul, who's notoriously, I don't say difficult in the room, but he always gets hung up on details and points of logic. And it was Martin Garrow, who's basically gone on to do like Blind Spot and a bunch of other shows. And I'm always the idea guy, and Paul was always the Captain Logic. And it's like, well, we can't do this because we would kind of duke it out, and Martin would be the guy in the middle. And I remember Paul objecting to, I don't know what he was objecting to, the mechanics of transfer transit, until like Martin was like, well, I've never seen anything like this on TV really. And it is a good idea. And then kind of Paul relented. And so, the story came about. But
yeah, that's one of the reasons that I really loved it, was because I'd never seen anything like this with regards to clones. And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I love that scene where they're like just, literally printing the body out, and you're just showing that scene. Like, that was so cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's something, obviously, we set up in the earlier episode 4 is just kind of like a throwaway. And then that we actually see here, and we'll see again in ensuing episodes. And it's kind of too bad because, there was a big plan, or transfer was to play a crucial role in what was to happen in later seasons. And we'll get to that eventually when we finish this rewatch. But yeah.
Interesting. Now, I do have one question.
Yes.
So when the clone comes out, are they just naked?
They are actually given kind of a, I guess, special underwear that will, I guess, travel with them, if you will.
That was actually part of my question too, because in the scene where like he comes out, they have kind of like clothes waiting for them, and it's like their perfect size and everything.
Yeah, so they can't bring their own clothes. Their own clothes would not travel.
Yeah, so
whereas
like
the organic underwear or whatever that they supply will.
Now, hear me out. You make their clothes out of flesh.
I like it.
There we go.
But I meant like, you know, that scene where he's getting dressed
Yeah.
like, before he looks himself in the mirror. So like,
Yeah.
where did those clothes come from? Is that like just
Th-
provided clothes?
Yes, that's provided by
Okay.
the company as part of the.
Okay. They just fit so perfectly. It's like, how do you know their size?
Well, basically, that's what you fill out the questionnaire before you go, and you know, she did tell them, well, you know, these we can fit you in a certain time, suggesting that it takes time for them to sort of put
Correct.
everything together.
Yeah.
But you know, they were fast tracked.
My thought would be, since 3D printing a human body and consciousness was so easy, why not just put the clothes in a separate non-organic printer and have your own clothes reproduced on the other end?
Oh.
You know,
That was
Yeah.
my thought.
you're actually one step ahead of the transfer transit creators. Actually, you
Yeah,
could,
that's kind of like Star Trek technology almost.
And
like,
bring
you
whatever
know.
clothes you want.
yeah, I like that.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Replicator.
Before we move forward, Joe, Kareen was talking about the in the chat was talking about the bonding, and it really felt like there was a roller coaster of togetherness and then doubt and then togetherness again and then like this very family dynamic. It was very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as I've always said, the central theme of this series, like Stargate, like Star Trek, even like Star Wars, is about family. And you know, over the course of this first season, now you begin to see their kind of bonds begin to form here. And especially as someone pointed out, I think Four is at his most relaxed and fun in this episode, especially like in the scene where Five comes upon them enjoying their meal, and he's actually smiling and laughing with the rest of the crew, which is something you rarely see from him.
That was really nice to see because you know, he just like let his wall down finally, and you're like, oh, he's like nice. He's a nice guy. It'll be fun to have a beer with him.
Yeah.
So we see here that the episode kind of kicks off where this really romantic moment where where one is like coming up behind her to give her a hug and she's like, I don't like hugs, like surprise hugs.
Right.
I love what she says. She's like, do I look like someone who would like enjoy surprise hugs? And he's like, not in retrospect. Like, read the room.
Yeah, this goes back to actually the last episode where she was talking about, or even the episode before, where she's talking about she likes things uncomplicated, and he's like, you know, he thinks he can maybe kind of be that guy, and yet right off the bat in this scene, you see him being very affectionate, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Like, this is not, you know, we're not heading down this road, buddy.
Yeah.
I do want to point out here too that oops, what did I do? I do want to point out here that something that Adeg brought up at one moment is blatantly obvious in this episode, and it's kind of just yelling at the audience about her bandage is still on there.
Yes.
To the point where I think at the end of the episode, is the android referring to her wound, Joe?
She definitely is referring to her wound, and
Yes.
perhaps more.
Yeah, it's her hypocrisy bandage.
Hypocrisy bandage.
For those of us who have seen the episode, there is a big, huge flag here in a scene toward the beginning about. I think it's very revealing about 2. But Katie probably won't pick up on it because I think you really have to see what's going on.
I was gonna say I will probably be blind.
Does anybody see like a big red flag about future? You know, something standing out towards the beginning of the episode?
I don't remember.
Like a hint about what 2 is really like.
She's able to pilot the ship into dock without using the computer assistance.
Yeah, that's one. That's one. Yeah, there's another big one too. I think there is. I think in the scene, if you notice in the scene where they're all getting drunk together.
She's the least drunk.
She's the least drunk.
Yeah.
There's also a huge hint in the pilot that is very similar to her being the least drunk.
I am very confused.
I'm
There's
a little
big one in the
confused too because
pilot.
I've kind of forgotten. I'm like, wait, what?
And not when they say, "Oh, you mean when they said, oh, you can do it," like when the android says,
You know, that's
"Oh, you
episode
can?"
3. No,
Yeah,
episode
going out this-
1 is basically where she says, everyone else, I forget the exact line, but essentially says, you know, something like, "I don't sleep." And then you see her on the bridge, and everyone else has turned in for the night, and she's sitting on the bridge, and you do that beautiful shot from the exterior, and it's like a panning shot through the windows as they're flying through FTL.
Oh wow! Isn't it great to have Joe here?
So great.
We'll have to do another rewatch after this one, and then that one, I'll point
Yeah,
out all,
totally.
you know.
It'll all be coming back.
Mhm.
And Joe, we really enjoyed some really nice exterior special. What do you call it?
Visual effects.
Visual effects.
Yeah, I mean, again, I give it up to our amazing visual effects team, especially Lauren Bancroft Wilson, who's a visual effects supervisor, and he just knows. He has such an eye for what will look great, and you know, James Robbins, who is our production designer on Stargate, designed the space station, and we designed this variation of the space station. And Lauren came up with the idea of, well, why don't we, you know, have this gorgeous nebula as a backdrop, and it's just like such a beautiful shot. Which is why basically I was I don't really get annoyed at award shows, because you know, when I was on Stargate, for instance, a showrunner of the last 2 seasons of Stargate, for me or any of the writing department, I did not submit us. I don't care. On Dark Matter, I did not care. I did not submit us. If other production heads want to submit themselves, we'll be happy to accommodate them. But for me, I'm not interested, because I find award shows are often just popularity contests and bull. Yeah.
They are.
But the fact that I think 2 out of 3 seasons, Dark Matter did not even receive a nomination for a visual effect, just really galled me. And I'm talking about not the Emmys, because they're, you know, that's we're small fish in a big pond. But you know, in Canada, the fact that we weren't just kind of ensured that I will never have any respect for the CSAs, which are our equivalent of the Emmys, and. You know, I think I blocked them on Twitter.
Stop.
Yeah,
Dang.
I sent them an email when the nominations came out. I was like, really? I mean, I wasn't expecting us to win, but at least a nomination for their work.
Sure.
Anyways.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh wow. But anyway, yeah, we're and by the way, that gradually gets more and more pronounced, right? In the series.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have a lot of money to make the show, is what it comes down to, and so we picked our moments, and this is one of those moments, a beautiful establisher of the space station.
Okay. I apologize because I'm having some trouble with my images today. And
I
so
just want to
might
say that
stump a
I
little bit.
really love the space station, and I just love space station episodes. Maybe it's because I love Babylon 5, and DS9. They're like, you know, I just love space stations, and I think it's like a really big part of space shows is to show space stations, and having, like, you know, everyone be there, the conglomerate of like all these different, you know, people, and you know, everybody around the galaxy or whatever, and I loved it. It was a great design. It was fantastic. One of the things that I always tripped out about was that there was not enough aliens in the show. Like I was like, there's not a lot of aliens. It's all humans.
That's
like
by design.
What's going on with this? I know. And I was like, you know, but it was just something that I always, you know, noticed when I saw the space station episodes. But then I was like, this has to be by design, and of course it was.
Let me say, guys, thank you to Ms. Martin for your super chat. Thank you so much for the 99-cent super chat.
Hey, Teresa.
And there was another super chat at the very beginning, which I'm going to have to go back and look at because it's off my map. So I'm going to just go look at it, and I will get back to that one. Thank you, Ms. Martin. Thank you so much.
That was Pastor G, $2. He said, "Yeah, can't stay, but just wanted to say you're awesome."
Aww.
Aw, thanks, Pastor G.
Thank you
You're
so much,
awesome.
Pastor G. Thank you, Adega. Thank you so much. I was having a little trouble with my images, so I'm taking a little bit longer. We see here that one is on the bridge where she is. Two is piloting into the space station, and I wanted to ask Joe, what is obviously it creates a very good reason for the dependency on the android.
Mhm.
Are there, just to be clear, like I assume like there are probably skilled pilots that are meant to pilot as the like ships like the Raza as well as the android? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, usually you would use the Android because it's easy. It's almost like driving automatic over shift. So, I mean, you could do it a stick, So you could do it. It just, it's so antiquated though.
Gotcha. By the way, did anybody get a feeling? Anybody get a feeling when 5 was explaining transfer transit to all the adults that we were listening to like a 14-year-old talk about TikTok to like older people?
Yes.
Totally. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God. I love that scene because like sometimes like I try to explain things to my mom or whoever, especially about sci-fi, and they're like, wait, what?
Huh?
And that's it. Yeah. Very well.
Oh yeah, no, and trust me, I'm talking to an entire family that does not watch Doctor Who, and I have a shrine built for it in my apartment. It's a real struggle. The second you go to someone who doesn't know sci-fi and say, "Hey, go watch this show or that show, any sci-fi show," they will be lost.
Yeah.
And I also want to put up another one of these images, Joe, because these are just nice, beautiful shots from the exterior. Just really nice visual
and
effects.
just going back to that, like there was another comment that said seatbelts. Yes, that was a hilarious scene. Like when he's like, oh my God, like he's just like he does not want to be in that chair. He's like, oh my God, we're gonna die. That was hilarious.
It was. And Peggy asked Joe, why no seatbelts? Is there a
because
reason?
the ship has inertial dampeners, so you really shouldn't need seatbelts. Unless, I mean, there's extreme situations, but hopefully if, you're an efficient pilot, you avoid those types of situations.
You know what's funny is I always thought that they should have seatbelts even in Star Trek because like whenever you see like they get hit, it's always like the captain like flies like into like like I'm just like, dude, why don't they just have seatbelts? Like when they go into red alert, it's like just seatbelt yourself in there.
See, okay, I'm kind of a nerd because when I would ride the school bus and we would hit the curb because we had an awful bus driver, I would imagine like we got hit by a ship and I was lurching to the side. Like that's where having no seatbelt comes in handy. Imagination.
Oh my God. So cute, Katie.
On this image, I gotta ask, because this was probably the biggest thing. It's a beautiful picture and everything, but for me, the impression was the scale. Was that per your request, or did the artist come up with it mostly on his own? Because, the ship we talked about last week it's a big ship. Then to fit in like a flea on a dog into the space station, the scale was really impressive. I wasn't sure whose idea.
Yeah, I mean, James Robbins designed the space station, but then it's ultimately Lauren Bancroft Wilson, who's a visual effects supervisor who tracks, the size of the ship, and if in order to sort of obviously be as realistic within the realm of our world as possible, how big the space station should be. And so, he really took lead, and he would run it by me, and I would offer suggestions or questions, but ultimately, it was very much Lauren creating, and his team creating the scale of the space station.
And Joe, do you want to mention anything about Trevor Finn, who wrote the episode?
Yeah, Trevor was our a script coordinator for season 1, and usually every season I would write half the scripts. Paul would write half. I would write 5. Paul would write 5, and then we had 3 freelance scripts that we would give out. And ultimately, all the scripts would always run through me, and I would always do the rewrites. But I always like to promote from within. And Trevor was a script coordinator, and I had read one of his pilots, Garrett, and I thought it was excellent. So I ended up giving him the script to write.
Awesome. And anything you want to say about TW, the director, TW Peacock?
Yeah, it was the first time I worked with TW, and a lot of fun. Really smart guy, and very visual. A lot of interesting. I think the composition of a lot of the scenes was very interesting. Does
he direct some more other episodes?
No, just this one.
Just this one. Okay. Cool. Now, Katie, is there anything? While I put up the next image, is there anything you're guessing about the bandage now that we've talked about it so much?
I have a feeling, I don't know why, but circuitry might be hiding underneath it, and she's just a really advanced robot, or maybe she's, I don't know, an Among Us imposter. I don't have any confidence in my guessing abilities, and that's what I love. It's just I'm thinking maybe robot, maybe killer alien who's out to destroy. I might just be hitting wiffle balls at this point. I'm not sure.
You'll get your answers before the end of season 1.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
And Joe, I'm not sure whether to ask you this question or not, if it's foreshadowing or not. Is there any significance to any of the scenes? Is there any foreshadowing with any scenes between Android and 2 in season 1, or not really? Or in any sense, or
Did
not?
I unplug my headphones?
No, there's only. Which scene? There is that one scene in the infirmary where very clearly it is a foreshadowing in what we're talking about here with Katie. The fact that she says you should tell them the truth, and that will be revealed, like I said, before the end of the first season.
Okay, I'm. This is what happens when you've watched it too many times.
Yeah, no, I can tell. Maybe that I will put it this way: that throughout the first season, 2, who's very much a hard ass, is very much a supporter of the androids and seems to have an affection for her, right off the bat.
Interesting. Okay.
I have no idea. Absolutely no idea.
Keep her confused. That's good.
I like it.
Answers to come, though. Answers to come.
This is why I can't sleep, guys.
Joe, this looks the whole concept here for the pod looks really, really cool, I gotta say.
Yeah, the Transfer Transit pod went through, I think, 3 different versions. There was the first version that was presented in, I think, episode 4. I never really loved that version. And so you see there's a sign where they talk about new improved pods. And so these are the new improved pods. And then you'll see another version, I think, in season 2, which are the 3.0 versions.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I just remembered that.
And how cool was the Star Wars 36 in remastered virtual reality?
It's a classic.
And I kind of thought, you know what? With the way things are going, that is totally possible.
Wow. And so, Joe, does that mean we'll be able to go in a virtual reality and like participate in Return of the Jedi today?
Yeah, probably not till I want to say maybe another 50 years or so.
I'll be alive.
So, yeah.
I'll be alive.
Yeah. By the way, Joe, you've never given an exact date for anything, right? In here?
No. In season 3, I think we gave a pretty fair approximation in one of the time travel episodes.
Ooh, it gets timey-wimey, eh?
It does.
That's up my alley. My tornado alley, if you will. But oh gosh, I'll see myself out.
And Joe, when six, is it just a coincidence, or is this a logical place for Six to go back when he goes back again to the same woman for information? Isn't it?
Well, basically, he figured out who he had to go to for information, and that person would give him information for the other person. And so when he comes back a second time, he goes to that same person to get the second key piece of information, but he knows that something screwed up. He knows that he's dealing with dangerous individuals and that someone has screwed with him. So in the second meeting, he doesn't take any chances.
Gotcha. Okay. And yes, Eric. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm bad too. I'm bad. I'm asking a question.
It's okay. Most of it goes over my head anyway.
And the idea of the transfer pods. So
I mean, that for the purposes of dark matter and my tweak on it, it was me. But I mean, in all fairness, I've read novels that make use of kind of similar ideas of essentially backing yourself up as a clone, and I just, use that idea as kind of extrapolated that idea for travel.
I think that's what humans would naturally do, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
The first thing you would do, get money from selling people vacations.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think I'd ever do it because that's creepy as shit.
Really?
I don't want like a double of me walking around. Like, hell no. I'm more of the, like, if you're gonna travel, like, teleportation, that kind of thing. This is all very like on the, like, for like illegal purposes. Like, it's great.
You'd be like so old fashioned. You'd be like, one of the moms who doesn't get TikTok. It's like,
I totally
no transfer transit for me.
100%. I'd be like, it's like in like Star Trek too, when
McCoy.
McCoy, or like Dr. Polanski, I think her name was. They wouldn't go into the teleporter. Yeah, that would be like me. Like, no, I'm not doing this.
You should look up some of the YouTube videos about how the transporters are just mass killing machines. It's incredible. So this might be a better alternative.
That would creep me out. What if it just lives? Look at what happened with the other guy. Oh, I don't know. In dark matter. I mean, I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Or like, what if
it creeps me out to re-kill my own clone over and over again? Like, that's weird.
Fair point. But what if you like died before you could get back to the return pod and you became this wanted criminal, and you had no idea?
You don't know what the clone's up to. Yeah, see, that stuff creeps me out.
But the clone is you, so the clone wouldn't do anything that you wouldn't do.
Oh, if I knew I was a clone, there would be things. I don't know.
Like golfing through a Stargate?
Yeah. I'd probably like steal a candy bar or something just for the adrenaline rush, and then immediately return it and be like, "I'm so sorry, I'm a clone."
I'm so
Joe,
sorry.
would a next progression be that the clone would wear some kind of apparatus which would constantly be downloading the experience so that it wouldn't be lost if they got killed or something?
Yeah, I mean that could be a
I don't know, some kind of just
like a
downloading.
new sort of technology. Sure.
Anyway, I'm just geeking out. Sorry.
This is
Shut up and put up the
nice,
next picture.
AJ, I really look forward to your fan fiction.
Again, our friend Anthony is eating again, right? In this.
Yeah, I mean, we pointed out the fact that he was eating the burgers, but I also recall that he finds the green not as craptastic
stash.
power bars. And of course, he has to unwrap one and eat it while he's there with the rest of the crew.
And that was hysterical. Green not as crap. I had to write it down. Green not as craptastic protein bars. That was funny. Katie, isn't he just becoming fun by now by this episode? Don't you think?
He is. He's getting that like slowly less dickish vibe. I don't know. There's no other way to put it. He's just I like his personality more. He's not, I'm going to shoot you because I don't like you. He's, hey, I'm going to shoot you because you took the green ones and I was left with the blue ones.
But then are you like, oh my God, like, because you watch the end of this episode and then you see how he connected. So you were like, oh, maybe he is an asshole after all. Like, were you like that?
Exactly. I'm like, oh, I'm sure I'm going to be let down on more than one occasion in the next few episodes by him. Like, I trusted you. I liked you.
And what is it? What does one say exactly when he's trying to convince? He's trying to convince 4 that he's really 1. He says, and 3's an asshole or something like that.
Yeah, 3 is an asshole.
Okay, you're real.
Yeah, you check out.
I like the actor that you got to play the double.
Yeah,
I almost prefer that he was the one and the double, reversed. Anyway, that's me.
He was excellent, but I'm just looking up his name now that we're talking about it. But I will say yes. He was terrific in the episode.
I also really like that line. It was another naughty line, like when they're getting drunk together, and he's like, "Is that like one of those double meaning words, like anal gaze or something?"
Analize.
Anal jizzit.
Or anal Jesus.
Anal Jesus. Oh, that was funny.
Every once in a while, there will reach a point in the script where I'll think, what would be funny if I came up with a funny word, and then basically I spent the entire afternoon looking for that word, and that was one of those occasions where I was like, okay, I need to find that word.
That's hilarious. An entire afternoon of just thinking about that word.
And let me just point out before I switch pictures, Joe, I love the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster you take us on, because and the writer takes us on as well, because there's togetherness, and we're searching his room, Six's room, and then there's just up and down, and it really does a lot for the emotional experience of the viewer.
Oh, by the way, the actor's name is Dan Jeannotte, Jeannotte, and I agree with the Dega. He was fantastic, and he's definitely on my radar for any future projects.
Good.
Yeah, he was great. I remember the first time I watched it, I was kind of like you, Dega. I was like, I kind of wish it was like switched. But
there was part of me that thought, wait a second, you can't be handsome in both parts of your life. Like, why couldn't you have been complete opposite? Not tall, dark, and handsome.
That's funny.
And somebody mentioned in the chat that Jeff Teravainen was and he's in this episode. Do you want to mention anything about Jeff? Because Jeff is very active with us on Twitter.
Yeah, Jeff is an actor who I hired for this episode, and again, there's always more going on than what it seems, and so basically the scene where he comes in on 6 and presumably lets him go. Why? I don't know. Maybe we'll see him again, more than likely. But Jeff is a terrific actor. He's a guy who just gets better and better. And I ended up casting him on my last show. Not Utopia Falls, and I knew he would be perfect for one of the leads. And for some reason, the casting director hadn't brought him in, and I was like, bring Jeff in for a reading, and he just blew the doors off the audition and got the role. So he's also another guy. Like I said, on Stargate, on Dark Matter, there are certain actors that I just like working with. We're just pleasant to work with, and hopefully I'll work with again. And Jeff is one of those guys.
Yeah, I thought I've watched half of Utopia Falls, and I thought he's great. He's fantastic as her father.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Joe, I'm going to put up a picture of the news feed here. Is there I don't remember now. Is there more elaboration with is there further elaboration with the news host is it the same news host that we see on and on further down in the series?
For season 1, yes.
Season 1.
She is actually a news anchor. It's actually kind of funny. Whenever we do kind of these news anchor scenes in sci-fi, we tend to hire actual reporters or news anchors because they're really good at it. Now, there was one instant where we didn't. We hired an actress who was very good in the audition, and it just took twice as long because she just, on the day, she just couldn't get it. Whereas I think her name is Pei Chen, and she's a local news anchor. She's a pro. She knows how to do it, and bang, bang, bang. You line up all the. In fact, I think we brought her in for one day, and she did all the GNN news segments for the entire season in that one day, and done.
If you're ever gonna need a meteorologist, are you gonna hit up Katie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now that I know Katie, yes.
I will fly anywhere.
And Katie, just to be clear, you're also doing the news now, right?
I am actually. I'm having to cover stories.
Oh,
but I will say,
go.
Getting down that cadence for being a news anchor and getting the newsy voice, that takes years, especially to make it sound good, because you occasionally have the emphasis on the wrong word and it just throws everything off. My morning co-anchor, he does it for 2 hours straight. I don't know how he does it, but it's, I'm glad you bring in news people because that is a hard skill.
Yeah. So you're not singing the news, are you? You're just basically straight delivering, like,
Trust me.
correct, on line 95.
We're taking a look at those temperatures. Yeah, no, I can't sing. That was auto-tuned, by the way. I had to pay off the people behind the scenes with coffee to tell them.
It was
to
very
never tell
impressive,
anyone.
I have to say.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
Thank you. And I'm pretty sure a couple of our back production assistants are deaf now. So, but it was worth it.
Katie, didn't you recite to me? Wait. Yeah. Didn't you, like, right off the bat when we first met? Katie recited the nation, like all the in Animaniacs, in the original Animaniacs, all the nations. She's like,
that. I can do
right off the.
What is it? I have the nations of the world. I have all the elements on the periodic table in 2 different variations. Can you tell I didn't have many friends growing up? Yeah, there's a lot there. So any of those skills are useful to anyone. Let me know. I love to flex.
Now, did anybody here? Well, we've all seen this except for Katie.
Do I need to unplug?
No.
You know what, though? I'm kind of like a little bit newish to it. Also, because even though I've seen it, it's been years. So like this rewatch is bringing a lot back. So
you've only watched it twice.
Yeah, this is my second watch there.
Practically. Yeah.
Because it didn't have an ending, Joe. That's the
All
only
right.
reason.
Okay.
Because it broke my heart so much that I was like, I could never watch this again. And
Tell you what, some of the
that
fan
was pretty
fiction
much it.
might patch that hole in your heart.
Yeah, that's why. And you and this stream has patched the hole in my heart. So now I'm
and
going,
also,
and I'm
I mean, like-
really enjoying it.
Like I said, when before we received news of the cancellation, we were actually in the room breaking stories. So I know a lot of fans were left hanging, and I ended up writing up those 3 virtual episodes 401, 402, and 403. So even though it may be a cliffhanger, how it ends up being resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why you've patched the hole in my heart now, Joe. Thank you so much.
And it is very kind to you of you to do that for the fans, because
Well, of course, yeah.
yeah, that so many people can learn from you by finishing a good story.
Exactly.
And
And
not
Joe,
just patching it.
just to be clear, if you did a miniseries to wrap it up,
Yeah.
what do you envision? How long would that miniseries might be?
I
for
mean,
example?
ideally it would be an 8-part miniseries, but I think I could do it in 6.
Now, could you get it on HBO so you could swear a lot?
I could.
All
I think it's
right.
necessary, but I think we could swear. We could swear on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, but see, then the clones wouldn't have to be like birthed with clothing. You could just go with it.
Well, exactly. Yes.
There we go.
Wow, Katie just wants to see people naked.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm saying, you could do it. It's getting lonely in lockdown. No.
Oh my god. Oh, girl, I feel
This is what happens when she has no tornadoes to chase.
So freaking. It has been over 365 days since I've seen my last tornado, and I need help.
Oh, wow.
I have one of those little mini tornado machines in a bottle, and I just keep staring at it every day.
Oh, this was a great scene.
I love
loved
this
it.
scene.
This wasn't a filler scene, was it? This was actually part of the. Or
Yeah.
did you? This, like I said, this wasn't one of the ones where you wrote in for time. This was actually part of the story.
No, I think this was part of the story. Although, now that I think of it, it's a scene that I ended up writing, and I'm not sure if it was because we were short or because or I'm not sure why, but I think it was definitely one of the later scenes. I don't recall, but what I do recall is actually when I wrote the scene, and Jay Firestone, who's president of Prodigy Pictures, he suggested the hug, which wasn't in the script, which I thought was a very nice moment.
Aw.
between the
Yeah.
two.
I like
And I thought they
that.
played it
Definitely.
beautifully. I thought Jodelle, with her awkwardness, and then you do the flip side of the Andrew with her even more awkward response.
She's like leaning in. Yeah.
They're trying to one up each other.
My favorite line was where she's like, "You have emotions. Congratulations." It's
Yeah.
like when like, I know this sounds really bad, but when a girl becomes of age and she goes through that time of a month, and then the mother's always like, "Congratulations, you're a woman now." Like, it kind of felt like
You're always like, "Can I go back?" Like that's the
Yeah.
android.
But it's all part of the progression of the Android story, where
Yeah.
Five encapsulates everything. Where the Android says, "Well, actually, I'm sort of a reason-based entity," and she's like, "Well, actually, I've seen this, and this," and the Android automatically assumed her programming is flawed, and Five tells her, "No, actually, this is a good thing. You have emotions. Congratulations."
Yeah.
And the Android doesn't quite know how to respond to that.
And I also think it's really funny that there was 2 awkward hugs in this episode. Like the first one where it was like, "Do I look like I like surprise
Right.
hugs?" And then this one.
Good
It was great.
point. Good point. Yeah, that just adds to that's a good point. It just adds to the roller coaster of emotions.
Mhm.
I like the setup in that too, because she was saying she was a logical being, but Five was hitting her with logic, even though it was about emotion. There was things that she couldn't deny, even though it was emotion. It made perfect sense. Yes, you are an emotional being. Got to learn to hug.
Yep.
Joe, was there when we saw at the end about like five says that well, you said you were going to hang out with me, and six says, well, I don't feel like going to see Star Wars. I'm not Star Wars. Whatever it was, I forget.
Yeah, it was
Star Wars.
Star
It was Star Wars. It was Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there like has his feelings been hurt a little bit by her?
I wouldn't say his feelings have been hurt by her. He's mature enough to, I mean, basically, he's a forgiving guy.
So he just wants to be left alone, basically.
Yeah, it is pretty much it. I mean, it has nothing really to do with her and more to do with him and the internal situation he is processing. And again, we're not going to give anything away, but clearly he's bothered by something. Could it be what we saw, or could it be more than what we saw? We'll find out in the ensuing episodes.
I also like the way this episode came out. The way you wrote it is he's brilliant. We didn't realize how highly intelligent Six is. When he goes into the situation the second time, one, he figured out something was wrong. The person that he contacted is going to be involved in it somehow. And then when he went on the scene, he was able to analyze the woman
Yes, her nail.
right on the money, figuring out this is where I screwed up. This is the detail I missed. Just, then
Extrapolating.
Then with the whole stealing a battleship, he's brilliant.
Oh yeah.
He's brilliant.
The shuttle, yeah.
Well, the shuttle was one thing, but they actually earlier on, the destroyer. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So no,
Yeah,
it was impressive. I think we missed we were talking about all kinds of other things because this episode was full of stuff. But for me, this was Six's episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, because we are coming to realize that nothing is quite as it seems. With Six, for example, and how he wasn't the one that killed all these people, kind of thing, right? So then, in the end, when it was and Three has been implicated in the death of this dude's wife. I was like, well, maybe it's not all as it seems, just like with Six and with pretty much everyone else that's been on the ship. So we don't really actually know what's going to happen. So that gave me some hope. I was like, when I was watching it the first time, I was like, maybe Three's not a bad guy.
See,
he's misunderstood.
And I think out of all the characters, I want Six to be the good guy. And I'm so glad that it's turning out that way so far. Maybe, please.
I felt like that about 4, and I'm not going to say anything else.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But, I mean, all indications in this episode and what we've been building towards is that obviously they're seemingly not as bad as their initial mugshots would contend. We'll see how that goes.
Oh gosh.
Joe, let me ask you this question. You're always talking about, you're always working on new projects and new possible projects, new pilots and new pitches. And does a finished product of yours, well, it's not finished yet, but does a product like Dark Matter that you've worked on for 3 years inspire you to create something in a certain direction?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the project I'm working at, the Timescape project really was inspired by a Dark Matter episode from season 3. So it just tonally and thematically very similar, so much so that if the show gets off the ground, I would love to do a crossover because it would just be perfect. But the show I'm actually working on now, that I'm developing now, is actually very different. But it's sci-fi as well. And the executive who commissioned it was a big fan of Dark Matter. And, when I sent him the series Bible, this big 30-page document, he's like, I recognize a lot of kind of the similar elements that were in Dark Matter. So I mean, I think even though they were very different shows, whether it's SG1, my work on SG1, Atlantis, Universe, or Dark Matter, they all have something in common. I think it's more tonal than anything, but yeah, I mean, it's I think it runs through all of my work.
Yeah, let me ask you. Actually, I think that's ingenious. The fact that you're creating something that could possibly fit into a crossover.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was one point actually where MGM was going to save Dark Matter, and they stepped in, and we were in discussions, and I was talking about the idea of potentially even doing a crossover, just more sort of with SG1 and Atlantis, because totally they would fit, and then sadly that never came to fruition. But yeah, I mean, in my mind, every show I'm creating after Dark Matter can, in the timeline, fit into that universe.
Ooh.
Very interesting. And I think I think everybody who's listening right now, I mean, this is fascinating because maybe at some point down the road, Joe will be in a position to all these chess pieces that he's putting into place. Maybe he'll be in a position to revive old projects and crossover and
that is part of the long game. Yeah.
The mad genius.
Yes.
Oh man, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Now
all pieces have to fall into place, and you never know. That's why I have, I think, 7 or 8 shows in development or various stages of development. Because you're only as good as your last show. Sadly, in Hollywood, no one really, if you don't have a show on the air, they're not really that interested in you. So the best time to actually get a job is when you have a job. But it's true.
When you're relevant,
yeah, exactly. So,
that sounds insanely difficult.
Yes, it is. It very much is.
Wow, Joe, I just got this image of you, like you just like sitting in your house working, like with your pinky in your mouth, like Austin Powell, like Dr. Evil,
petting my pug. My pug on my lap.
Okay, I would have put it in your lap.
Yes.
What was I going to say? Oh, here we are. I'm having a lot of trouble with the images for some reason today, guys. Because I screwed up. Actually, there's a reason for it.
No, keep the first story for some reason. Like the triple step into the mainframe.
For some reason,
Garrick is hacking, something like that.
And by the way, we're Alan is having some kind of trouble, so he's trying to join us. Let's see if he can join us. And let's see.
By the way, someone asked if I was to do a miniseries, if I could get the cast back together. I have no doubt I will be able to get all the cast. I know Melissa's on the Rookie and doing very well on the Rookie, and then Alex just announced he's actually got a major role on a feature. And they're all busy doing their own things. And Roger's, we talk about Roger being like the busiest actor in Canada, but I'm in touch with them all. We're all very good terms. And if and when the miniseries did happen, scheduling would be the only issue, and I would find a way to make it work.
Wow. Amazing.
All of a sudden, all the fans in the comments section are just squealing with joy.
Yeah, we're all like,
there's hope.
Joe, any way the fans can support you, let us know, because we want to see that whole universe come to life.
I much appreciate it. I will definitely let you know as things draw closer with other shows, or if I need.
I will lead the charge. You
excellent.
Just tell me what you need, and I'll do it. Team Raza, yeah.
I wanted to ask Katie. I did it again. I wanted to ask Katie, when Katie, when you first saw this, did it surprise you that he all of a sudden he walks up to one and smack him in the face?
It kind of did, and then my brain caught up with my emotions, and I thought, oh, yeah, duh, different genetic code. Plastic surgery can't fix the genetics. So it made sense probably like 2 seconds after. I was like, what are you doing?
We see it. What we talked about 4 being like like 4 here was very he goes to cheer up 3 and tries to bring him along and we see a more human side to 4. What happened in this episode, Joe, that makes him go at the very end of the episode and try to connect to his brother? Is there something that or is it just time?
It's time, but it's also, I think, that moment where you see him finally kind of let his guard down during that meal where they've been drinking so this is at the beginning of the episode. That kind of cements it. But I mean, I think 4 is kind of the tough love type of guy, and he presents 3 with honestly a logical argument, and basically says, look, it wasn't your fault, and frankly, not only that, but we owe you our lives. And so, I mean, what it is he's just being honest with him, and that's the type of guy 4 is. He's a straight shooter, and I mean, very much you see that progression in this episode.
He says that too, like as he's going to see him, he's like, it's been enough time. It's almost as if like he's made a decision himself as well. Like it's been enough time. I'm gonna figure my stuff out too.
And Joe, do you want to? I'm not sure. Are you able to answer this question from Leviathan?
I haven't read Spellsinger. I believe it's one of Alan's books.
Oh, okay. It's one of Alan's books.
Yeah.
Gotcha. He's written so many.
Yes, he has.
And I just got a message from Alan that he is not able to connect for some reason.
No.
Oh no.
He's asking us to let you guys know for another time.
All right.
So thank you, Alan. I'm sorry if you're listening, Alan. We all support you
Very much.
100%.
Yeah.
Anybody want to? I'm sure. I think he's listening. Does anybody want to say anything about regards to Alan's?
I was chanting
dilemma?
mutiny, but that's about as much as I can
Take Disney and kind of bend it over backwards.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Alan's work. I mean, growing up, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which I think was the greatest Star Wars novel of all time. Sat on my bookshelf, as did all his Star Trek books. I think the log 1s through so and so. But I mean, as you pointed out, he's written so much stuff that I haven't read that I really should get around to, and hopefully his issues with Disney gets sorted out, and Disney comes around and pays him the royalties that he is owed.
Yeah, and I just want to add to everything everybody else saying by saying that Disney's acting very, very badly towards artists of every sort right now. Like whether it's writers or draw people, artists, like every kind, and it's very unfair. And what they're doing is, the only thing I can say is karma's a bitch. I'm sorry.
Mutiny.
Sorry. But that's it. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. And
guys...
I love your work, Star Wars. Yes, woo.
Dig, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dig. Go ahead.
No, I just gonna say, give Katie an axe and a shield and let her go at it.
Yes, the Highlander is coming out.
Do you guys think that could it be that? Is it probably that it's just such a behemoth of a company that somehow something is getting lost, or is it the? I mean, I don't think. I think it's
no. You would think that basically with a company that large, that they would have dedicated people, layers and layers of dedicated people to deal with situations like that. So I mean, I think it's just the
Well,
opposite.
and Lucasfilms, like LucasArts, was very famous for treating their artists very well. So it's come like it's gone the opposite now, and Disney stating that they basically paid enough to have all these works and they don't need to pay anymore. It's basically like kind of thievery in my opinion. They're really acting very badly on this, very disingenuous, and I mean, you're a big
Plus,
enough
there's-
company not to do this. This is insane.
Plus, there's a long line of activity that they've done to show that they can care less about the past, especially when you look at the theme park. They didn't do anything with the old material. They went on to new stuff. So one, they didn't have to recognize anybody else's work in the past, which Alan would be part of that. You know,
Exactly.
It's like, go away. We're done with you.
The way I see it, at best it's mismanagement, at worst it's something malicious. So,
Mhm.
and
Well, and it's
neither
not
does
just with
figure
Star
good.
Wars either. It's with his other works as well, with Alien and the acquisition of Fox and everything like that. So it's pretty much all his works and anything to and I would assume that he's not alone. Like there's probably a lot of other authors out there and a lot of other artists that are in the same boat as he is.
It's like we mentioned earlier, it is a fight for all artists.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, all
Absolutely.
creators.
And Joe, would you? Let me ask Joe and Adega, the two authors. Is there another implication here as well? That, I mean, if Disney doesn't have to pay him, Joe, does that? I mean, are they saying that George Lucas should pay him? I mean, does that make sense?
No,
George-
because basically they own the rights to the to the book. So if they bought it off Lucas, and Lucas film has no skin in the game after this, because essentially, if you own the rights to the book, you're making money off the sales. If you continue to make money off the sales, then you really should be paying the writer royalties, and that's the bottom line.
Exactly.
Either
what's
that or
really-
give over 100% of those rights and everything that he wrote back to him. And they can't use any of it.
Exactly.
You know what's really weird? It's like Disney's almost acting like they just bought like a license to use or something like that, and like
But
as if
even
they brought a
so,
franchise.
I mentioned this earlier, PJ, just kind of before the panel. As a writer on Stargate, I still receive royalties for the scripts I wrote because broadcasters around the world will pay a licensing fee to air the episodes, but they will also have to pay, part of that licensing fee. A portion of that will be royalties that will be sent to that MGM will figure out and send our way. So even if they pay the licensing fee, they have the right to license the books, or not. In my case, the series. As a Stargate writer, I still receive a royalty.
Which makes sense. You should, of course.
Mhm.
Yep, absolutely.
Definitely.
If someone's making money off of your IP, you need
Yeah.
your cut. It doesn't
Yep.
matter who owns the IP, right of distribution or print. The creator is the creator, regardless of who owns it, and that person needs to be rewarded for their work. They didn't put it out for a one-time thing; they put it out forever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The remarkable thing too is very recently, Alan wrote the novelization of episode 7, and so he's been working with them. I don't know if I think you guys know about it. I don't know. Did you hear, Joe, that he had done a treatment script for episode 9?
No, to be honest with you, I much respect for the Star Wars fans, but I kind of got off the boat halfway through Return of the Jedi when the Ewoks trotted onto the scene, and so
Gotcha.
I am out of the loop on all things Star Wars.
So, yeah. So basically, he's been heavily involved, and just to for the audience, just to remind everybody that he wrote a treatment script for episode 9 because he didn't like how the character, specifically how the character of Luke was treated in episode 8, and basically he was totally ignored by Lucasfilm and Disney, and I mean he wasn't even given a response. And Alan said very clearly to us when in several of our streams that he doesn't do unsolicited stuff. Like the fact that he went ahead and did something by himself was because he was so passionate about fixing the problem. Anyway, not to get political in Hollywood terms. But Alan, we miss you, and sending you lots of love. And,
good luck.
And hopefully you'll be able to good luck. You'll be able to give us an update with some good news soon.
And Alan, I know that a couple of other YouTubers probably reached out to you. I know one of them is Mary Mayhem, a good friend of mine in the community, and Midnight's Edge, Tom from Midnight's Edge. They would love to speak to you as well if you get a chance to check your emails. There's a lot of support coming your way. Yeah,
I think the whole community wants to. There's a lot of us talking about trying to gather attention to this, and hopefully it gets fixed. But so what do you got, Joe? What's happening to the little guy then? If things like this are happening to people like Alan?
Well, I mean, it's not just this situation, but all over. I mean, as companies like Amazon and Walmart grow stronger, a lot of the small businesses grow weaker, and we can get into this whole pandemic thing where so much money was given to the 1%, where small businesses were kind of left out in the cold, and now sort of with all these shutdowns, it's kind of weird that places like Costco and Walmart are allowed to stay open while smaller shops, family-owned shops, are forced to close. I mean, it's prevalent. It's maddening, but it's all over the place.
Makes you wonder.
It's kind of like the David and the Goliath kind of story where Disney is like that giant, and Alan is just battling this giant.
That's why he has to win. It has to set a precedent. It has to be a big precedent that will not only go across the IP platforms, but any type of industrial, or like Joe was saying, with mom and pop shops. The ability to compete should never be denied simply by size of the competition.
There's a heap ton of irony in this, and that it's about Star Wars, and Star Wars is all about the small rebellion jumping up to tip over this oppressive empire. I just find that hilarious.
Yeah, it's very ironic.
Real life foreshadowing.
So to go back to finish the episode, Joe, did you want to say anything about his former associate, or could you elaborate on his former associate?
No, this is basically he's the head of the Procyon insurrection. He's a rebel. He's played by Andrew Jackson, who eagle-eyed Stargate fans may recognize from, I'm not sure what the name of the episode was, but season 4, he played a Tok'ra called Perseus. And there's a tie-in there. So Andrew Jackson, great actor, and chances are we may see the general again.
Ooh!
Oh wow!
I want Six to get his revenge.
Yeah, I did too. I remember. I was like,
Joe, how? Forgive me. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but if and when, hopefully, when you get to do season 4 or a miniseries, 8-part miniseries, how does that mini 8-part? I mean, Do you already have the whole miniseries mapped out in your head?
No, I had seasons 4 and 5 mapped out in my head. What I would need to do, I mean, realistically, I couldn't pick things up. I mean, if we were doing season 4, I would pick things up immediately after events of season 3. Since that's impossible now, I would have to do a time cut. And, you know, in that respect, it would save time, and I'd be able to sort of tie up a bunch of dangling loose ends from the finale. But the main arcs, story, character, and the ending I have in mind would still be in play.
I'm so hopeful.
And here we see towards the end of the episode, we see again the episode. We see the scene where Joe spoke about before with the android and 2, and yeah, it's and like you're really letting us have it. We're getting a lot of shots with the bandage in this episode.
Mm-hmm. A not so gentle reminder.
God, I'd totally forgotten this now. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm kind of like Katie right now.
Just
Feel a little lost. I'm like,
what?
what was it? What was it? Like trying to remember what was the big reveal.
Joe, Dreamer out there asks, Joe, wondering, is rebuilding the sets for the show the biggest hurdle to getting another season or the miniseries made?
No, not at all. The biggest hurdle is getting a broadcaster to green light. Once a broadcaster green lights it, then everything else falls into place. I mean, in terms of sets, our production designer, Ian Brock, kept very detailed designs and schematics. Rebuilding the sets would not be an issue.
Cool. Wow. Good question. Well, any thoughts from you guys on that scene with the android telling 2 to tell them the truth?
I hope it happens and soon. I want the drama.
Well, there was that whole scene just before that where she was playing mother hen and browbeating all of them for keeping secrets, except for 5, and then turn around and why is she the exception?
She's got one.
Yeah, the realization is, well, now you're a hypocrite.
I just went and read it, and I remember now. Whoops.
Yeah, and thanks for reminding us, David, that there was that scene where she was kind of like the mother hen, and she was kind of laying the law down for everybody. It really does establish her leadership again, and.
She's great. I love her.
I feel like the crew needs a mother hen, though. Like, could you imagine if you removed 2 from the situation? They would just be floating around in space with oxygen levels being depleted, running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
There's also the thing, and it's very relevant for now, where you're seeing different people where it's rules for thee and not for me. You know, people getting caught all the time, and she was put in that position. Is it not for me? And you could see that she's going, crap, I'm gonna have to tell them. It's not it's something different for me, I'm special, but you could see it, especially like on her face right there, is like, yep, you're right, I gotta do it.
Joe, who's more of a kid, 5 or the android?
Who's more of a kid? You mean the character or the actresses?
No, like the character.
That's a good question.
I think the android is definitely more of a kid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. Just, in terms of sort of the curiosity and the way she approaches things. Whereas 5, even though they call her the kid, is quite level-headed.
Yeah. Her, on an emotional level, she is leaps and bounds ahead of the android. At least she acknowledges she has emotions.
Yeah.
And like the very last, the very few last scenes we see 1 and 4 kind of getting getting it. Well, 1 is getting information on Derek Moss, on his real personality, and
He essentially finds out who Derek Moss is. He's the CEO of some company whose wife has been murdered, and the suspect in the wife and the death of his wife happens to be his shitmate 3, aka Marcus Boone.
If you go back and like freeze it and take screenshots, will the paragraphs actually make sense to the story?
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, they're just kind of filler nonsense articles. It's just like a press article about them showing up at, being at an event. So it's not going to reveal any secrets about the characters. But we'll shed some light on the type of guy Derek Moss.
You didn't
Writing
just
fluff
copy
that
and
adds
paste.
color.
Yeah, you just copy and paste the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
just out of curiosity, Joe, who writes that filler content?
Someone in our art department. Usually in our art department, or sometimes it's like a story coordinator or an assistant who will write it up, and they'll run it by me, and I'll pretend to read it, and that's it.
And then 4's reveal was pretty interesting too. Well, it wasn't really a reveal, but him getting a hold of his brother.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves us up. I want to hear the rest of that conversation.
Oh yeah, I was definitely like, because I really like 4, so I was like, oh, I want to know more. What's gonna happen with him?
When you said who's a bigger kid, I thought you were talking about the entire crew. It would definitely be Alex Malari Jr., who plays 4. He is the complete opposite of 4. Although, I mean,
really?
he is actually very, very determined, very focused. Sorry, there's a fly.
And the bug at it.
Yeah, very focused, like very just incredibly smart and reliable. But I mean, he does love to joke around. He does love to laugh. He does like to pull pranks. He's actually shooting a movie with Ryan Reynolds now. But once, hopefully, his schedule clears up, he'll be able to join us for an episode.
Oh, that'd be wicked.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so cool.
How exciting. And Katie, did this shock you?
It actually, I don't know why, but part of me just knew that they had a connection before all of this. The way that it played out did shock me. Because 3, you're starting to like him, and then all of a sudden, he killed someone. It's like, come on, man.
That's a good point.
Man. Just when I was trying to, maybe he's a good guy, he just kills in self-defense. Nah, he murdered this dude's wife. Okay.
Maybe he's a suspect. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a 6th situation where it's wrongly accused. We'll see. I have a feeling he probably did it, though. He kind of just like flat out did it.
Oh man.
And him and 1 have been paired up so many times together. They spent a lot of time together.
I have a feeling 1's just like, bruh, whoa, and then he'll just go postal on him or something. I would love to see that fight.
Just steal Bubba. That'll do more damage to him.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so sad. I can imagine it now. Like 3 runs up, you just see 1 next to the airlock. He just stares 3 dead in the eye and presses the button, and Bubba just ejects into space.
Joe, is there a little parody here in the fact that it's GNN for just kind of like
maybe the Galactic News Network?
I love it.
I love that because I totally I was like, oh yeah, that's CNN. That's so funny. It was great. There's a lot of there was also the little logo for the transit thing. I thought was an homage to Star Trek. Like it had like the little, like it looked like the.
Oh, maybe, yeah. That was
logo.
that again. That's our art department coming up with.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's a little homage to Star Trek. It looks like the Star Trek signal.
And Joe, can you tell us again? You've told us a couple times before, but there's some new people in the chat. And can you tell us again what the role of Prodigy Pictures and Jay Firestone is?
Sure. So Prodigy Pictures is a Canadian company, and originally the Dark Matter was a comic book with Dark Horse Comics, but in order to shoot the show in Canada and qualify for the tax credits and everything, we need a Canadian production company that essentially acquired the film and television rights to produce it and then sell it here in Canada and around the world. And Jay Firestone was the president or is the president of the company. And so before the show came to air, he ended up going out and selling the show. He took out the comic book that I had written and based on the comic book and the Bible that I'd written, ended up selling the show to various broadcasters around the world. And, as I mentioned, broadcasters pay a licensing fee, and those licensing fees go towards a show's budget. So once you have enough sales and enough licensing fees to produce a show, you are effectively greenlit and can go to into production. And so, during the production of the show, Jay read all the scripts, gave notes on the scripts, and he was also in the editing room as well.
How involved are they? Do they have to be in miniseries? Are they totally involved?
Because they own the film and television rights to the production.
Okay. Wow. Any final comments, guys, ladies?
I really hope 3 just doesn't do a jerk move. We've made so much progress. The bar has been moving up. No, I'm genuinely a little worried because I know I don't know, I have this feeling something bad's going to happen. And I don't want it to because they're improving. They're becoming more of a family, whether they like it or not. So, Joe, I swear, if you rip this family apart.
Well, I think next episode we'll be shedding light on, we did 6 this episode, we'll be shedding light on another character. And, again, hopefully we'll be shocking you in that episode as well. So I'm not going to give it away.
That sounds like
But basically, I remember one of the production assistants reading the script for episode 9 and there's a point in the episode where something happens. And apparently, he screamed and people were like, well, what's going on? And he's basically, he had worked on other productions where he had read scripts, but it was the first time he reacted that viscerally to a twist. So I was very glad to hear that, heartened to hear that.
Good. So now I'm going to have to let my neighbors know that I will be yelling.
Yes.
Just ignore it.
Katie's like, I'm just going to go watch that right now.
Yeah, exactly. Let me just sneak out to the car and drive into a field so I can scream to my heart's content.
Joe, I'm looking for. I have a question from episode 7, or a comment. I just want to put up a picture from episode 7 real quick. But Jeff actually asked a good question. How do the broadcasters react to Android not being Dolph Lundgren or being more a different kind of Android?
How do the anchors? Sorry.
I assume he's referring to when you were pitching the show. How did they? How would?
Well, in the comic book, the Android was male, but then when we got the green light, I could pretty much make whatever show I wanted to make, and it was really only Jay and I casting, and Vanessa Piazza as well, who's an executive producer on the show. So I mean, I opened it up. As I mentioned, for and Android, we considered men and women for the role, and it just so happened that we just loved Zoe's performance, and so we made her the android. And at the time, it seemed kind of strange, but now that you watch the show, I mean, I can't imagine anyone else playing the role.
Plus, it wouldn't have had that instant change of accents 5 times in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, the Jamaican one was so funny.
that was amazing.
And I'm just gonna put up this last picture. Bird, Alan is having technical issues and he's not able to connect today. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we connect another day with Alan. And again, Alan's been very, very generous with our channel, as has Joe. 2 outstanding individuals.
Oh, please.
And yeah, Joe, I'm not. I know you don't want to hear it, but this is like awesome for us. So thank you again.
Oh, no,
Absolutely.
again, as always, thank you guys for taking the time to do it. Love the support.
And I just want to put up one more picture because I forgot to say it last time. I thought it was hysterical when Wendy was like slapping him like cartoon slapping 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It was hysterical.
Dude can
That
make
was
a
great.
punch.
Yeah. And John Stead came up with the choreography for that. John Stead, our stunt coordinator, came up with the choreography for that little sequence.
Katie, what did you think of Ruby Rose in that episode last time?
You know what? I thought it was amazing. that was the whole thing. I just got so sucked into the episode. It was
That's great.
so great. Oh, that's one of the great things. I say it all the time, but this show just sucks you in. You forget about the outside world and you're trying to find all these little details, and it feels nice to escape to a whole new world.
They grow up so fast.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Katie, because you're watching this for the first time. Yeah, any other comments from episode 7 that you just want to real quick share?
Oh, it was sad. It was sad when the lady died. I was very
Sleeping
sad.
Beauty.
Sarah.
Yes. I was like, oh, come on, guys. You don't have like a backup generator. People in the Midwest right now are like, you got to save the meat in the freezer. You put on that generator. Like, oh, come on. But no, I thought it was really nice to see a very soft side to a character that's just been a jerk. So it was really great. Now you're adding more dimensions to the characters and more dimensions to the show. I love it so much. I'm getting so attached, and I should not get attached. I learned that lesson with Doctor Who. You never get attached.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We're going to give Joe the last word. And Gaps Stargate says he used to work. Joe, I used to work at Telepictures in Atlanta, says Gaps Stargate.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Joe, any last words for episode 8?
No. I mean, we're kind of gathering steam now. We've been meaning to learn more about our characters as our family begins to bond. And we're steamrolling towards our shocking season finale. But before then, there'll be a few more shocks along the way.
Oh, gosh.
Great. Thank you. I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank Katie, Nina, Adega, Joe. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you.
I want to thank Alan as well. Alan is trying to be here. He's having technical issues. He has also too much going on, to be honest. I think he has too much going on right now. And the fact that he was trying to be with us tonight. Thank you again, Alan. I'm sure you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Dee Dee Myers, Berta Prey, everybody, Luis, Sparrow, Tyrone, everybody who super chatted, Corrine, Susanna, Sarah Jett, Gap, Peggy, Matt Ryan, everybody who's been in here. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you again, Joseph.
Thank you.
We will be back. Joe, we'll announce it if we're back for next Monday. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have an awesome day. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
I don't know why I'm waving. You guys can't see me.
Now I know why she does wave like this.